Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take a whole stack of sources, pull out the most interesting bits, and hopefully make you instantly feel up to speed. Today, we're jumping into something that's, well, fascinating, but sometimes a bit tricky about spoken English. Our goal here is to help you really hear it, understand how native English actually sounds, moving past what you might just see in a textbook.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we're pulling insights from Train Your Ear, English, Rhythm, and Flow. Because it really is all about digging into this crucial part of English that often gets missed, the rhythm, the flow. It's not only about the words you know, but like how they all string together and move. It's almost this hidden layer to the language.
Right. Okay. So let's get into that. I mean,
Yeah.
have you ever had that feeling where you know all the words someone's saying, but it still sounds like they're kind of mumbling, that frustration?
Yeah.
That's often this rhythm gap we're talking about. It's not just, a nice little extra. It's actually key to unlocking those conversations that feel blurry. You genuinely have to, well, train your ear for it.
Yeah, it's fascinating because native English, it has this distinct beat, a real pattern of stressed and unstressed bits, the syllables. You think about the bigger picture. It's actually a lot more like music than you might initially think. Imagine like a song with a beat. Some words get the emphasis, they hit harder, while others just kind of glide over. Okay, let's try a specific example. Think about saying, I want to go to the store.
Ooh. Naturally, when someone says that want, go, and store, those are the words that pop. They carry the stress. But the little words like to and the they often get, well, swallowed a bit, as the source puts it. They're just less important for the rhythm, so they kind of fade back.
Oh, I like that, swallowed.
Yeah.
That really gives you a picture of how sounds get compressed, doesn't it? It often feels like words just blur together so quickly. Is that part of this flow where everything just merges?
That's exactly it. We don't always say every single sound clearly, like you'd hear in a dictionary recording. It blends. Let's listen to a quick natural sounding chat to show this. Just tune into how the words connect and shift. Okay, first line. Hey, what are you up to today? Second person. Not much. Just gonna grab some coffee and maybe hit the gym later. First person again. Nice. I was thinking of doing the same. Want to meet up? And a reply, sure, let's do it around 2. Okay, now let's unpack that little exchange because it shows so much about how English really sounds day to day. What are you up to? That very often squishes down into something like what you're up to. You heard it there. Or think about going to. Super common for that to become gonna in, casual chat. And let us naturally shrinks to let's. Even want to just blends right into wanna.
Wow. It really is like learning a secret code that's hidden inside the language you thought you knew. You just don't clock how much native speakers compress and link things until someone points it out, or you really listen for it. Breaking it down like that really shows the difference between textbook English and how it flows naturally. It just highlights why listening for that overall rhythm, the connections, is so important, not just focusing on every single sound.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense when you lay it out. But then the big question for anyone listening is probably, okay, how do I actually do this?
Mm-hmm.
How do you go from knowing about rhythm to actually like hearing it and maybe even using it yourself? Are there some solid techniques?
Absolutely. The sources give us 3 really practical, powerful tips. First one is called shadowing. Okay, so with shadowing, you listen to a short clip of native speech, just a sentence or two maybe. Then you pause it and you repeat it out loud, trying to mimic it exactly as you heard it. The key thing here isn't just getting the words perfect. It's really trying to nail the rhythm, the intonation, the melody of it.
Like singing along almost, but with speech. Kind of, yeah. And the second tip is chunking. So instead of trying to learn words one by one, you learn common phrases as complete units, as chunks. For instance, don't just learn want to hang out, learn the whole phrase wanna hang out as one rhythmic piece. That way you're kind of absorbing the natural flow from the get-go.
Learning in blocks. Makes sense.
Exactly. And the third tip, which is really useful, is to slow it down. You know how on YouTube or podcast apps, you can often adjust the playback speed? You can slow the audio down, usually without making the voice sound weirdly deep or high. This lets you cast that rhythm and those word connections much more easily at first. Then, as you get it, you gradually speed it back up.
Those are genuinely practical tips, especially for something like rhythm, which can feel a bit abstract. And I guess the real trick isn't just knowing these techniques exist, but actually, doing them consistently. Maybe we could give our listeners a quick chance to try one right now.
Great idea. Let's do it. So just listen closely and then try repeating after me. Focus on that flow, that rhythm. Ready? First one. I'm going to head out in a bit.
Ooh.
Pause for repetition. Okay, and here's another. Do you want to come with me? Pause for repetition.
Nice. And look, don't worry if it feels a bit awkward at first trying to copy those sounds and rhythms. It probably will. But honestly, the more you practice that kind of mimicking, the more your ear starts to naturally tune into those rhythms when you hear people speak. It really does open up your understanding.
It absolutely does. It's like the sources say. When you can hear it, you get closer to being able to say it.
Right.
And when you can say it with that natural rhythm, you really start to feel like you own it. It becomes part of how you understand and use the language. So if we boil down the main insight from this deep dive, it's this. Mastering English rhythm isn't really about chasing some kind of perfect textbook pronunciation. It's much more about sounding natural, about getting into the flow of the language like native speakers do.
It really does feel like finding the music in it all, doesn't it? Once you catch that tune, the rest starts to make a lot more sense.
And that leads to maybe a final thought to leave you with. If training your ear helps you hear English flow like music, what other kinds of hidden melodies or subtle patterns might be out there, waiting to be discovered in how we communicate? Maybe even beyond language itself. Something to think about